Coming up on City Spotlight, we are talking all things Arcola. We will visit with Larry Ferguson, the mayor of Arcola, and Bill Wagoner, city administrator of Arcola. We will discuss the TIF extension, work on the sanitary sewer replacement, and highlights of the 45th Annual Broom Corn Festival. That's next on City Spotlight. City Spotlight is supported by Consolidated Communications. CCI is honored to salute the cities and their leaders in the area, as well as providing TV, internet, and phone service to local homes and businesses. We live where we work and are proud to support the communities we serve. More information available at consolidated.com. I'd like to thank the mayor of Arcola, Larry Ferguson, and city administrator of Arcola, Bill Wagoner, for joining us on City Spotlight. Gentlemen, thank you for coming back on again.
Thanks for asking us.
Thank you for inviting us.
Appreciate it. And the last time we chatted was in February, so 6 months' time. It's been a while, so hopefully there's some good things to talk about with Arcola. Let's start with how the last fiscal year ended, because we had you on in February, so the last fiscal year was ending. How did that wrap up for Arcola, and where did it set you for the current fiscal year that you're in right now?
Yeah, I think we ended up pretty well. I think a lot of our supervisors, they hold the budget really tight, watch where the spending is, and of course we have some items come up that you have to spend some money on that we didn't anticipate, and you have that even in your daily lives. So I think we ended up really well, and I think Bill could speak to our new budget and where we are with that.
And we're in last part of August, Bill. How's Arcola looking with the current fiscal year that you're in?
It's looking fairly good. We implemented a new tax that's going to help with our general fund, and then we're going to do some deficit spending in our water and sewer fund, just regular maintenance. That's one of the things you plan for every couple of years. So.
And as we talk here, the state budget of Illinois has still not been resolved, as we've talked about on recent episodes of City Spotlight. How does the city of Arcola deal with week to week, day to day, and your short-term and long-term goals? How do you work with what's going on there in Springfield and how it affects what you guys are planning?
Sure. The main thing is our local share of the sales tax and the income tax are still coming in along with the state use tax. They've hit our motor fuel tax a little bit, and they've stopped altogether our share of the revenue from the video gaming system, the bars and the social clubs. That's going to get us for probably about $16,000 this year if they don't release those funds. So all in all, we're getting by, and we'll manage it. We know what we're up against, so one day they'll sort it out over there, but probably not tomorrow, but soon.
Maybe by the time this show airs.
Yeah.
Do you guys have to make changes? I mean, as time does pass by, say maybe not days or weeks, but maybe say a month passes and this still hasn't been resolved, do you have to adjust your plans short term?
Well, I think we looked at some of our staffing, and I know we'd had some change. We had some retirement, several retirement going on, and I think we didn't actually hire summer help through our park and so on. So, and they've kind of had to step it up. So, we were looking at our bottom line of what our salaries are, but that's where I see that we have a change for this year.
Governor Rauner did sign something that is going to help Arcola recently. Larry, you told me that the TIF extension for Arcola was signed.
Yep.
Talk a little bit about that and how immediately or in the short term it will impact Arcola.
Well, we worked several years to get that through the state, and Governor Rauner did finally sign that about 2 weeks ago. Now we can implement that. We got a 12-year extension on that. We've shrunk the area. We're designating the areas that we need to basically put different infrastructure in and different businesses and such. So we shrank that down quite a bit, and I believe it's going to be it's a definite tool we've used for the last 20 years and 20 plus years, and I believe we can use that to attract businesses, continue to help businesses. I know we have downtown, we have Prairie Winds that's doing some remodeling and renovation. I know our downtown area is really, really old, and those TIF dollars help with those type of things. So we're very excited about that.
And Bill, I want to ask you, I know we talked about TIF districts, TIF expansions at the last time you guys were on. How does a TIF district how does it help a city, and really why are they in place? Why do you need something like that?
They were adopted many years ago because they wanted local control for economic development in communities. The state's a big organization. It's hard to get moving sometimes, especially on small projects. Having local control is very important. you can set them up in a variety of ways to fund projects that tailor fit each community, because everybody's a little different. So.
And one thing, Larry, that you told me prior to taping, talking about potential duplex units in Arcola. Is there anything that you can talk about there?
Well, we can certainly talk about that to a degree. Actually, a company here in town, a management company, is looking to put over, I think, over 55 unit duplexes in behind Sarah Bush there, off of 133. That could be really big for. We always have. Seems like we never have enough rental in Arcola for whatever the reason, and we do have a lot of rental. But that could be a real nice addition to Arcola, and there's actually some farm ground that will be used for that. So it's all still in the middle stages here, but it's not totally completed. But would be a really great asset for Arcola.
And another thing that we talked about last time you guys were on was a group called the Amish Country of Illinois, kind of different towns: Sullivan, Tuscola, Arthur, and yourselves. I may be repeating myself on a few of those, but since it got going in the spring, I know that Bill, when you talked about it to a certain degree, they were just kind of developing a logo. Anything happened there that can be brought up, that how it's helping Arcola? Sure. And
that's actually one of the organizations that's really been bit by the state budget. That's the 10% category that's not being funded right now. So it's been kind of a scramble. We've got a plan in place of how to use the local match dollars that we're committing anyway, to try to take that next step, but it won't be the big leap we were looking for with the half match from the state. So,
how often does that group meet?
We meet monthly. We rotate between the communities. We've got a good core of probably 8 to 10 people that show up at the meetings, so it's a good representation of our area.
And in the meetings that you guys have met with the different leaders of different towns, pretty happy that this group has been formed and what it can do for each community?
I think they see the value in it. I mean, we invest quite a bit of time in it. It's going to be a key for growing our communities in the future. So,
all right, look forward to hearing more good news coming from that in the future. Let's move into some infrastructure, buildings, roads. Let's start with sanitary sewer replacement. Larry, where's that going on right now?
In the Arcola Acres. I believe that was back in maybe in the 50s when that was built.
Yeah.
And it's of course, back in the day that, how the infrastructure, they did what they had to work with then. And we've got a group, we actually got a grant, Bill can maybe talk about that, and we're matching some funds, and we're basically redoing the sanitary system out there in that subdivision. And they're going to have nice new roads. It's going to be next year. It's really a mess right now, but I think people are seeing the real value in it. It's dusty, it's dirty right now, and the group that's in there working is doing a wonderful job. There's always a mess when you're doing construction, but once it's done, they're going to be it's going to be back like it was new again when they first put the Arcola Acres in the subdivision. So it's a work in progress. It's pretty messy right now.
Is there anything you can elaborate on, Bill, as far as the grant or the fact that this something that needed to be done?
It's something that very much needed to be done. We had a little bit of a panic 2 weeks ago. The federal funds were being held up by the state, but the Senate bill got through and then Magan approved it. So the federal funds are moving again, so we can make our first drawdown. Otherwise, we were looking to be out of pocket for about $650,000 until they reimbursed us. So.
Okay, let's move along to roads. I don't know if there's been much going on. I do remember seeing some work there on Route 133. My wife personally got stuck there at that intersection there of 133 and 57, but that's a state road project,
yeah,
correct?
Hopefully
Yes.
She didn't get stuck very long.
It wasn't. She found her way back up to Tuscola at the time.
That's good.
But we're doing our regular maintenance work for our roads right now, and of course that's with the cost of oil and things of that nature, it's hard to do as many roads as we did in the past. But we do our money's available, and we do what we can to keep our roads in best shape that we can. It's a struggle. It's a real struggle.
Okay, no road work in the inner part, downtown area. The brick roads holding up okay?
Well, I know we talked. I think we spoke about that last time, and it's we've done a few things here and there, but
right.
It's just real hard to. I know we had some big dips and things that we had taken care of, but it's hard to maintain those. So
it's certainly beautiful to look at. It's very cool. Let's talk about some buildings, and I mentioned that an antique store there in downtown area is having some work done on the building.
Yeah, and they're working through that. It seems to be going very slow. I don't know what the situation is, and they're trying to stay open too. They've got big signs out that they're open, and so trying to make it make it on a daily basis that they're working. So yeah, they're working on that as we speak. So hopefully they'll have that done before Broom Corn and have a nice new shiny front storefront and be okay.
That would be good timing to have that work done. Now, one building that has been seeing a lot of maybe action or things going on is at the Green Mill Village. Since June, they've had a musical going on there, and I believe it's going to go through October. How's turnout been for that musical? I know I've seen a lot of advertisements, whether it be print or radio, for it. How's the turnout been? I
think it's been good. It's been a good addition for the community and for the hotel and the development there. I think the numbers could be better. I mean, they're not having sellouts every night, but their weekday matinee shows are very popular. Getting a lot of church groups in. It's a very good production, very wholesome show, and a lot of good feedback from the people that do go. A lot of repeat visitors. I know my daughter has been. Thursday will be her 4th trip there, so yeah.
And the Green Mill Village, as we mentioned last time you guys were on, one of the newer things in Arcola. How much do you focus on what you could build within it or around it, since it is kind of one of the newer things in Arcola?
Well, we actually, I think they just maybe finished up 2 road cuts from 133 into that subdivision, into that division there, and that looks to open up for new businesses to build there. I think before having to come around to the backside there was deterring possibly some work being done right off the highway where they can pull into maybe a gas station or a convenience store, or just maybe some kind of retail business that would want to come right off of the highway. So, and then Bill can maybe speak to what's going on, but they're doing a lot of advertising. They're working. They got the what is that called through the summer? Where they have the events out there.
Taste of the Prairie.
Taste of Prairie, yeah. It eluded me. To bring people out and let them see what's out there, and maybe get a few vendors and things, and do a lot for the community. So we still have the TIF out there to help with if new construction needs to come out, but they're doing a really good job of advertising, getting people in.
And maybe we touched upon this last time you were on. Arcola is situated kind of to the west of the interstate, and the Green Mill Village is to the east. So, I mean, again, is that pretty much as far east as Arcola can go? As far as growing, maybe, or
I don't want to say never, but
never is a bad word to use. Sorry.
We've made an investment over there to extend water and sewer lines, and we're prepared for it to grow further if it does, and if it doesn't, then that's fine too. We've got space to fill in throughout the community. So
I think we made the water line a lot larger that direction too, and that was part of we had a big fire out there probably about 5-6 years ago or so, and we were real concerned about, we have a lot of industrial businesses out there, and we wanted to make sure they had enough water to fight a battle and if it ever to happen again. So it was basically twofold there. One, to help with the new area, and then actually have enough capacity to take care of it if something drastic would happen. So
something that happened in June at the Green Mill Village was Raggedy Ann had a 100th birthday celebration. I didn't make it out to it, but Bill, I believe you may have attended the gathering. And how did it go?
Yeah, it was great. They had a near sellout capacity for the ballroom for the birthday party. We had vendors come in for a swap meet at our community center for the weekend. It was a sellout, and people are very excited. They're coming back in next year. Wow! So it's growing every year. I know 100 years is special, but yes. It seems to be sustaining itself as well.
That's very cool to hear, a great part of Arcola's history. And before we talk about the Broom Corn Festival, one thing that we weren't able to bring up last time we were on, talking about the Hispanic population in Arcola. Talk about the Hispanic population in Arcola and what it means to Arcola.
Well, I think it's a great workforce, and they're great people, and I don't know how many of us live in employee as far as total employees.
Up to 450
people. And I think the majority there work there, and we have the Miraza area there. It's an outreach program. I think Douglas County Douglas County Health Department is joined with them. That started. I think they had a 10th year anniversary this year. I believe this spring. So it's a great outreach program. Designed for Hispanics could come in there. They could use their computers. Children could have that access, and actually, a lot of citizenship has been obtained through that portal.
And the Miraza is a outreach building, and where's
It's a
that?
building behind City Hall. Yeah, it's kind of back there where it's not really seen, but I think most everyone knows where where it is. And a gentleman, Mr. Flavin from Hammond, actually comes there. Has been there since day one. Almost every day, it seems like he has a real passion for that. So it's been a real plus.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the Broom Corn Festival, 45th, and we're taping this prior to the Broom Corn Festival, but later in the program we'll have a nice little feature on what happened at this year's. Right now, as we're speaking, it's late August. What's the preparation like in Arcola getting ready for the next Broom Corn?
We're just trying to spiff up the town a little bit, clean it up, make it look nice. The guys are, the Public Works guys are getting all their equipment ready. We have to get out all the trash barrels, the barricades, the traffic plan. The volunteers themselves have got all the events lined up and ready to roll. Expecting a really large parade again this year. The 5 and 10K is one of the biggest events of the weekend, and they're always looking for more runners. So if you're into that, that's an option for you. Get in, get early, get your discount registration.
We were just talking about Raggedy Ann turning 100, and when you have things that are adding years and the longevity, 45 years to the Broom Corn Festival. Do you take a moment to go, wow, we've had this going on for this long, and it's a staple part of our community?
Yeah, it's interesting that things just, time flies by. We actually was, let's see, I'm trying to think, 160 years old this last summer, the town was.
Right.
So those things passed. I know we had our sesquicentennial 10 years ago, and it's like time just flies. So, I mean, I can't wait to see the 50th year, how big that's going to be for our broom corn. So,
and it's really amazing that it's an all volunteer driven festival. I mean, you couldn't pay to put that on, and the fact that we've had volunteers that not have done the whole 45 years, but that keep stepping up year after year to do it. It's pretty amazing. That's what's great about being in a small town.
Yeah. Hopefully the weather's good and we can show a little bit of what happened at the Broom Corn Festival coming up later in the program. One event I want to ask you about that happens in November, because November, in a blink of an eye, will be here in just a couple months. The second and third weekends of November, we have the Holiday Open House in the downtown area. Why don't you talk about what happens at that if someone hasn't been to it before?
Yeah, it's nice. We've got a lot of quaint little shops downtown that offer a variety of products, and they get together and they promote this event, and they have a lot of nice sales. And it's a great opportunity. They want your Christmas money, of course, first and foremost. But I've been with my wife several times, and really the price that they offer for a lot of the wares is really good.
Okay. And as we wrap up, gentlemen, last quarter of the year is upon us. Something you're looking forward to in Arcola here as 2015 almost comes to a conclusion. Something, Larry, that you're looking forward to?
I can't think of anything.
I think that maybe you had mentioned before we taped something about the schools. There were some things going on in the Arcola schools that maybe you wanted to bring up.
Last year the community came together and we raised about $500,000 to buy iPads for all the students, and they implemented a digital learning system at the school. And the first segue was pretty good. They've seen increased results in reading and math, and it's really been a positive addition for the students to learn, on their own with a device that allows the teacher to pick out the ones that need more help, and the ones that don't need help, they don't get bored in class. They're working away on their iPad and they're jumping ahead. So it's brought the whole school system up. It's been great.
Okay. Anything that we may have forgotten that you're thinking of last second here before we wrap up?
First football game's coming up this weekend. We ranked 4th in the state so far, so we hope for a good season. Yes.
Arcola Purple Rider football.
Right.
Can't forget that.
That's right.
Larry Ferguson, the mayor of Arcola, Bill Wagoner, city administrator of Arcola. Gentlemen, thank you for coming back on City Spotlight.
Thank you for having us.
And coming up, we'll take a look at a feature on the 45th Annual Broom Corn Festival, the sights and sounds. But first, let's take a look at some of the upcoming activities going on in Arcola.
from all over the world migrated to the little town of Arcola, Illinois for the 45th Annual Broom Corn Festival. Whether they came on 2 legs, 4 legs, or even wings, there was plenty to see and do. What brings so many people to Broom Corn Fest? Executive Director of the Arcola Chamber of Commerce, Mark Spainhauer, says it's all about the wide range of activities.
I think it's just the variety. There's everything in here from making brooms and demonstrating brooms, making those all the way from the different crafts to the different flea market items. There's everything in between.
One of the weekend's main events is the world-famous Broom Corn Fest Parade.
Well, I think this year we had over 150 entrants in the parade. Though we had obviously our grand marshals leading it out, Tom and Joni Wanamaker. Joni was the granddaughter of Johnny Gorell, who created Raggedy Ann, and their Raggedy Ann's 100th birthday was this year. And so it was only fitting that they were our grand marshal. So we started off with them, and then following up with the Lawn Rangers that are a huge draw, a fan favorite, a parade favorite that comes through there, and it just goes on from there.
Friday brings people sweeping in from all over to, well, sweep.
Look at that, he's got form and he's got style, isn't it?
Well, we witnessed the National Broom Corn Sweeping Contest. Everybody, 20 contestants, sweeps, I think it's 3-pound broom corn seed for 45 seconds, and then they weigh it at the end, see how much you sweeped in the hole.
Bob Hazel is a 3-time broom sweeping champion.
Let's see if you've stayed in shape over the year, Bob. Their gun is to take those bragging rights away from you. You know that.
He says he gets to brush up on his sweeping skills at home.
Oh, it's just fun to do. I don't know. My wife makes me do it a lot at home, I guess. That's why.
How many of you guys like to have him come sweep your garage?
And what does this champion say makes a good broom?
Good broom corn, I guess.
And to wrap up a busy weekend, former competitor on The Voice, Ray Lynn, took to the stage. Spainhauer says she has joined a list of big names that have performed at Broom Corn Fest. Garth Brooks and Brad Paisley once stood center stage at the festival. So how did such a small town book such big headlines?
Well, we essentially what we do is we get them when they're young because they're just trying to make a name for themselves. They have a lot of talent. We pay a higher price to get that talent that has a lot of promise, and so we basically gamble that they're gonna come in here and do well. For example, we signed Garth Brooks before he was really a household name. He broke in big in between the time that he came here. We were even surprised that he still showed up. He was so popular, but he was an enormous hit for us. We go and we work with we get about 5 names from Variety. They give us some ideas, and then we choose it from there. Based on different price levels that we can afford, different audiences that they go to. This year we chose Ray Lynn because she appeals to a younger audience, and we wanted to get the younger crowd to keep the pump primed, if you will, of people coming to the Broom Corn Festival. A couple facts you should know is I think our very first Broom Corn Festival was in 1897. It went for many years, and I think it stopped for a brief period of time because of World War II. It started back in, and they got the idea to start it back in again in '73.
So what's next for Broom Corn Fest?
What we'll do after this, our festival ends about 5 or 6 o'clock today. Probably at the beginning of October, we'll go into a debrief meeting with all of our committee chairs, see what we did right, see what we did wrong, how we can improve for next year. And then in February of next year, we'll start planning 2016's festival. And we meet at least the committee comes together once a month until it's time to have the next festival. So it's a continual process. it's so labor intensive. It takes so many volunteers. You have the obviously the Chamber of Commerce that goes out and solicits help from other organizations in town. We try to get the help from the Rotary Club, from the Lions Club, any other organization in town. We need help. The whole town, really. If there's a organization in town that's not helping with broom corn, I wish I knew who they were, because I would get them to come in and their help. It just, everybody comes together for this weekend just for a common cause, and that's a special thing.
And in just a few short years, Broom Corn Fest will reach its landmark 50th anniversary.
Yeah, we've got some plans for that already. There's been discussions on that.
Spainhauer has one last message for those who have not yet been to Arcola's famous Broom Corn Fest.
And the folks that are watching this, if you haven't been to the Broom Corn Festival, then you need to get in your car on the weekend after Labor Day and come into Arcola.
Reporting for City Spotlight, I'm Tori Stoll.
How about Arcola?
City Spotlight is on YouTube. Past episodes can be viewed on East Central Illinois towns that have been featured on City Spotlight. Just search on YouTube, City Spotlight, with the show number and the name of the town. Listed on your screen are the recent episodes of City Spotlight. City Spotlight is supported by Consolidated Communications. CCI is honored to salute the cities and their leaders in the area, as well as providing TV, internet, and phone service to local homes and businesses. We live where we work and are proud to support the communities we serve. More information available at consolidated.com.